What's up? It's Marco back on the Stage Soccer channel. Today we're doing a preview for the Gold Cup, and man, these teams are starting to get strong in CONCACAF. It might not be a two-way competition this year. I mean, one of the teams who's looking really strong is in USA's group. It's Canada. Man, Canada's getting a lot better at this point, and man, you can see it, and they don't have any players in their squad from the weak Canadian League, and I feel like they're all at like an MLS level players. Then they got some star players coming in as well. Alphonso Davies, he might be the best player in North America at the moment, along with Jonathan David, though he's missing out on the Gold Cup. But man, they are just some elite players. I mean, Alphonso Davies, not just a great player, but like a world-class player, like someone that everybody in the world would like to have on their team. A strong midfield as well with Hutchinson, again, though he's missing out on the team. And Eustaquio, I'm going to have to get used to that name. He's a Portuguese player from Canada. He's looking really strong. And Kyle Larin up top, he's a strong striker. And then there are just a lot of really nice prospects in the Canadian system. While none of them are going to be playing, guys like Marcelo Flores, Daniel Jefferson, Shaquille Marshall-Ruddy, if they all commit to the team, they could be stars. And man, something about this Canadian team that's always kind of bugged me is that basically at every point in my life, there's been a Canadian player better than an American player. Like the peak for peak, the Canadians got a better player. Right when I started, Owen Hargreaves, an amazing defensive midfielder, though he represented England, he came through Canada. Like, he's not just Canadian, he like came through their system before ending up at Bayern Munich. Then there's Hutchinson, who, man, he was just a beastly defensive midfielder for years. He honestly still is. He just has an injury right now. He's not in the squad. And then Alphonso Davies, he comes into the team. He's probably the best player in CONCACAF right now. Aside from a couple of years where I'd say Dempsey was the top player, Canada's had the better star player. And man, if they get those guys, Marcelo Flores, Daniel Jefferson, Kelly Marshall-Ruddy, if they all commit to this team, I'm getting worried about these Canadians because we know how good they can be. In addition, they did commit Iowa Canola in the squad, which sucks for USA, but good for him. Man, I feel like they're a very strong team right now. I can honestly see them pushing the USA team for a win or a draw, but I feel like USA is going to come up on top of the group. If Jonathan David, Hutchinson, and everybody was there for Canada, it might be a different story, but just with the squads as they are now, I feel like USA does have the advantage over them. I feel like Canada will still get through pretty easily, though. I think they'll be able to handle Martinique and another team that isn't decided yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be Haiti. They're probably the best team who'll qualify. So yeah, Canada's a very tough opponent. The rest of the group for the USA, Haiti and Martinique, as I mentioned. Well, I'm assuming Haiti. It could be Bermuda, could be some other teams, but Haiti's probably who it's going to be. I'm not saying 100% that USA was going to beat them, but if they drop points against Haiti or Martinique, it'll be because USA beat themselves. It won't be because Haiti or Martinique came up with something special. I think it'll be just a bad performance. Maybe they get hit on the counter, but I don't feel like they're a team we have to look out for. Obviously, you can't overlook anybody in a tournament, but I don't think they're a huge worry. Players to look out for are Emmanuel Riviere, former Newcastle player from Martinique, and right back Corlins Orcos is probably Haiti's best player. And should Bermuda qualify, you have to worry about Naki Wells. He's a former Premier League player, and he's part of Bradford City when they won that cup run back in 2013. Outside of our group, Mexico is obviously still the favorite. They did put a pretty strong team out, but they are splitting the team for the Olympics. So they're missing out on guys like Ochoa, Diego Lainez, Sebastian Cordova. I believe they're all in the Olympic squad. And the team is going to be a bit weaker for Mexico, or a bit older, I should say. It's not a full team. It's still strong. They're probably the favorites, and honestly, being an older team might actually help them, but yeah, they are going to be missing out on some players. We should take note of that. Costa Rica, pretty strong team. Keylor Navas is actually not in the squad this time. Brian Ruiz and Joel Campbell are still strong players, but it could be better. Decent defense and creative players, and I feel like Costa Rica is still one of the top teams in CONCACAF, but probably the fifth best team in the tournament, and they could go on a run, but again, I'm not too sure if they'll be able to make the semifinals this year. Next, we have Jamaica, who's a very interesting team due to the amount of talent that they possess. Andre Blake is a very good keeper. I think aside from Keylor Navas, I probably rate him as the best keeper in CONCACAF. Very strong guy. He can keep Jamaica in the games, but you might not even have to because their defense is actually very strong, at least at the championship level, with guys like second tier of England championship level. I feel like I should make that distinction. Guys like Liam Moore, Michael Hector, Adrian Mariappa, Alvis Powell from the Union, Kamar Lawrence is somebody who I really like. That's a pretty strong defense that Jamaica has the ability to put out. The midfield is starting to look pretty good too. Guys like Daniel Johnson, Bobby D. Cordova-Reed is an option as well. I mean, Reed had put up a really good season for Fulham. He's a very versatile player as well. I'm kind of expecting him to see him in the midfield. And then they have a bit of a wild card in Revel Morrison. And if you haven't heard of this guy, he's basically someone who Alex Ferguson called the most talented player that he's seen come out of Manchester United. That might have been hyperbole, but man, he's a very dangerous player. Amazing on the ball, but man, he hasn't been able to really get everything going. But extremely talented player, and if Jamaica's able to get the most out of Revel Morrison, that could start to become a problem. Then in the attack, Leon Bailey, he's a very dangerous winger, someone who could be a real problem for the USA team. And Andre Gray, he's a very dangerous striker as well. There was a while ago where he had a very good Premier League run, and I honestly feel like he still has that in him, and it's a team to watch out for. And if Jamaica can really start keeping their talent, if you've been watching the Euros, you see Raheem Sterling, he's from Jamaica, and if they keep all their great players in the national team setup, they could become a very strong team. Next, you got Honduras and Panama. Both of them are putting up some solid teams, but I don't think they'll threaten to win the competition, especially Honduras due to them splitting their squad due to the Olympics. But there are still teams that you have to watch out for. Next team I want to talk about Curaçao and Suriname. I'm going to group them together because they're both putting together some decent teams through Dutch connections, similar to what Jamaica has with England or Haiti has with France. Curaçao in particular, they're being managed by Gus Hiddink. I don't think he's going to be able to travel to the tournament because of his health, but Patrick Kluivert, I think, is going to be stepping up and managing them, and man, great player there. They're bringing in some strong players like Anatia, the Bakuna brothers. They were trying to recruit Timothy Chung from Manchester United, dude with the crazy hair, but that didn't end up happening, and both teams could threaten to make the knockout round. If they can continue to recruit like this, they could be a very good team in the future. Then the wildcard team for this tournament is Qatar, and I don't know how they're going to perform, and they are the actual wildcard. They won the Asian Cup back in 2019, and man, they have a very good squad. They're putting together a good group of players for the World Cup that they're hosting. Almoez Ali, he's a very good striker. He scored 9 goals in the Asian Cup, but it's a bit hard to judge their skill level, especially when they're going to be going against CONCACAF teams now. I'm really interested to see how they fare against Panama and Honduras. So it's going to be very interesting to watch those games. And yeah, that's about every team we have in this competition. Some really good players in the team here. Guys like Andre Blake, Joel Campbell, Revel Morrison. He could be very interesting to watch. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Gold Cup this year. Some very strong teams in it. Yeah, my predictions for the group stage, I'd say, are Mexico and Curaçao to advance, USA and Canada, Costa Rica and Jamaica, and Panama and Qatar. Honduras, again, it would be different if they had the full squad, but with the Olympics, I feel like they'll just be weak enough for Qatar to get past them. Yeah, that's all I've talked about. Really looking forward to the Gold Cup, and I'll see you.